This portion of the news brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
A judge sentenced a 62-year-old grandfather to prison after a jury convicted him earlier of unlawful sex with an underage girl.
As Fern Carey tells us, the convict is a repeat offender.
62-year-old Edward Butler, convicted earlier of having unlawful sex with a 9-year-old girl, was escorted into Supreme Court under heavy police guard to learn his fate. According to court evidence, Butler forced the girl to perform oral sex on him on at least 2 occasions and then asked her not to tell anyone. However, the child reported the abuse to relatives. In court, Justice Vera Watkins did not waste any time, sentencing Butler to 16 years in prison, which takes effect from May 30th of this year. In her written ruling, Justice Watkins said she took into account Butler's record, which shows that he was previously convicted of a sexual offense with a young child and served 8 years in prison. She also took into account the age of the victim, the breach of trust which the child had put in him, and the fact that the child may have long-term or permanent psychological and mental damage. The judge also stated that Butler is not desirous of reforming his behavior, has denied responsibility for the crime, and has not expressed any remorse. Outside court, prosecutors did not wish to comment. However, Butler's attorney, Raymond Roll, indicated that they may appeal.
We are kind of surprised at the length of time that he was given with respect to the offense and the circumstances surrounding the offense. I'm obviously going to have to take my instructions from him and based on what he says, and we decide whether or not an appeal will be given or whether an appeal will be lodged. I will take a few days off and then I'll speak to him so that he has time to consider the full ramifications of what the sentencing indicates.
Fern Carey, ZNS Network News.
Police have classified the death of 18-year-old Altronica Young of Monastery Heights off Bernard Road as murder.
Detectives arrested 3 men, 2 18-year-olds and 1 17-year-old, all of Dorset Street, Fox Hill, for the homicide. The young girl's body was found in the area of St. Augustine's Monastery off Bernard Road shortly before 6 o'clock Sunday evening. Authorities told reporters on the scene the victim was found by a jogger who was passing the area.
The man convicted of causing more than $1 million worth of damage to the new road on the Airport Gateway project on JFK Drive is expected to appear in the Supreme Court tomorrow for sentencing. The 54-year-old married father of 2, Thomas Rigby, initially pleaded not guilty to 1 count of causing damage in the magistrate's court, but later changed his plea to guilty. Rigby said he kept on working even though he wasn't getting paid, telling the court he couldn't take it anymore, subsequently causing the damage to the new road.
94 Haitian migrants were found in Green Key last evening, and according to Defense Force officials, the group was found coming in on a 45-foot Haitian sloop. 81 males, 12 females, and 1 child were brought to the capital where they are expected to be processed. Now, this follows yesterday's arrest of 16 migrants that landed in the Marshall Road area. Suspected Haitian migrants reportedly landed near Bonefish Pond and attempted to flee into neighboring communities where several of them were apprehended in Hepburn Estates. 13 males and 3 females have been captured thus far.
The Bahamas Red Cross officially launched its annual raffle on Monday outside of Scotiabank at Parliament and Bay Streets. A number of high-profile volunteers were present for the launch, including Dame Marguerite Lady Pinling and Mrs. Nancy Kelly of Kelly's Home Center. Red Cross Director General Caroline Turnquest says the raffle, which will be drawn next month, is another fundraiser used to offset expenses. She said the target is typically around $100,000, which the Red Cross hoped to secure from the fair. The target, however, fell short as only about $23,000 was received from that event. Mrs. Turnquest said the inclement weather on the day of the fair back in March definitely impacted the event.
We had a very unsuccessful fair, and so we're counting on the funds from the raffle now to be able to purchase much needed disaster supplies and to assist us with our daily running of the Red Cross. And so we make an appeal to the general public to assist us. What can I say? We need the funds. We really need the funds, and we are hoping that persons would be generous in purchasing of the tickets.
Well, considered to be the church with an open door, St. Paul Baptist Church on Blue Hill Road and Bias Street celebrated its 84th anniversary.
Now, the church has a rich history as a number of well-known pastors were produced from within those walls, including the late Reverend Mitchell Cooper, Octavius Brennan, Bishop Simeon Hall, and Reverend Dr. Leroy Higgins, just to name a few. The church was packed to capacity on Sunday as a number of members commemorated the milestone. Prime Minister the Right Honorable Perry Christie zeroed in on the impact St. Paul's had on the country and encouraged the leadership to continually retell its story.
Must not let the work of a man who helped to write a defining chapter in the lives of the Bahamian people and the life of the Bahamas slip into oblivion, slip into history. Lift it up, talk it, because when you preach sacrifice, when you preach struggle, when you use biblical figures for it, use people like Arthur Colebrook and those. Use the man who decided in 1929, who went from building to building to building, even a barroom to have church, as the church history shows. Higgs, use them to teach young people of what struggle is about, what sacrifice is about, what commitment is about.
Also to come in sports, a Golden Girl talks about the future of the sport.
And later, who exactly is Sammy Swain? Find out. You're watching the Bahamas Tonight.
This portion of the news was brought to you by McDonald's. McDonald's, I'm loving it.
This is your Royal Fidelity Business News. I'm Karissma Robinson. Landscape architecture firm Forster Conant and Associates recently received the 2013 Award of Honor in the commercial category from the Florida chapter of the American Society of Landscape Architects for the redesigned West Bay Street area around Baha Mar. The Award of Honor recognizes landscape architectural design that adds to the body of work in the profession. The West Bay Street project was considered a remarkable display of landscape architecture. 7 Caribbean community countries, including the Bahamas, will benefit from Inter-American Development Bank Finance Cultural Development Program. An IDB statement said that its cultural center has selected 45 partner institutions to finance and provide technical assistance to cultural development projects in 25 countries. The program promotes cultural development in Latin America and the Caribbean by co-financing projects and working hand-in-hand as project partner. And in international business news, the Eurozone has emerged from recession after a record 18 months of economic contraction. Gross domestic product grew by 0.3% in the second quarter of 2013, slightly ahead of the forecast. The growth was widely expected for the German economy rose 0.7% between April and June. That's your Royal Fidelity Business News. I'm Karissma Robinson.